Welcome to this commercial real estate Excel model mock exam. So we're given a bunch of metrics here based on our situation, and we have some instructions here that will pop up throughout this throughout our pro forma building. So we are just going to focus on the timing for today. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to write a nice big title, maybe not big, 10-year holding period. So the reason that we have this as our first thing is because in our exam instructions, the model must be able to analyze various hold periods for up to 120 months, which is 10 years. Next thing, this is the month ending. This is going to be the month that we are at, and this is going to be the year. Okay, so this is good. This right here is going to be our date of close right there. Perfect. And then this month here is going to be month 0 and year 0. And so the next thing we're going to do, the reason that these are 0 is because when we purchase the building, that's always going to be considered month 0 or year 0. So we're actually going to adjust these things here. We're going to click Control 1 together, and you'll actually get this Format Cells tab. And what you're going to want to go to is click this Custom button, and then here you're going to write in quotations, acquisition. So you know that this is going to be the acquisition, and it's very interesting because even though it says acquisition, if you look up here, it actually displays 0. So that is just basically the cover of our number. So now we're going to make sure that we have our months going up. So we're going to take this cell and we're going to add 1. So this is going to be our month 1. And as you notice that it says acquisition. So we want to change that back to numbers. So we're going to click Alt H N and then N again for number. And it changes it back, and we're going to go back to decimal places. So again, that's actually just like a little shortcut for changing it to those different things. I'll show you again one more time. So I'm going to equal sign. We're going to take the previous month because it's 0, and we're going to +1 to show the next month. And then we see here it's acquisition. We click Alt. Alt is to show up all these like different numbers, and we're going to click H because if you look at all of these like on the ribbons here, you have different things that you can click. So we're going to click H to go to home, and then here this is actually what we are trying to change. So you see is N here, and now here as a little shortcut, instead of typing out number, you can just type N and then enter, and it brings it back. Perfect. So now we're basically going to copy this, and we're going to hold Shift, and then we're going to just drag it around here as far as we can, and then we're going to click we're going to press Control R, and so Control R is just going to paste it to the right. That's what Control R means, and we're going to try to get to 120 months. So let's keep doing this. We let's copy this, copy these two, Shift, and then use your arrow keys to go a little bit further, and then Control R. Okay, perfect. So we're going to do something interesting here. One thing that I didn't understand in the beginning. We don't stop at 120, even though we're analyzing for 120 months or 10 years. We actually want to add 12 months. Why? Why are we adding 12 months? It's because when we're selling the property, we're going to take the next 12 months NOI to calculate the value of our building when we want to sell it. So we want to make sure we can represent those cash flows. So let's copy, hold Shift. Let's try to get it to another 12, and boom. Perfect. And so now that we're over here, it's a long ways away. If you look at this scroll wheel, it's like a long time to go over there. So what we're going to do to help us out is we're going to add these zeros here. And you're only going to see why in a second. These little zeros are going to be as our place markers, or like little place markers, little like placeholders. That's the better word, because we can do something really cool. If you hold control and then your arrow keys, you can like swap behind, like to the next value really quickly. So let's say I'm at like this acquisition here. I'm going to hold control and then the right arrow key, and boom, I go to the next value. If that wasn't there, then it would go all the way to the end of the Excel sheet, and that's way too far. So we just want to hit that 0, just as like a little help. Okay, perfect. So now we got all of our months down. The next thing we want to do is get our years. So we want to make these first 12 months show that this is all going to be 1. And as soon as we get to month 13, we want it to start showing 2. And then so on until we can get to like 10 and show all of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn our first function. It's called equals round up. Okay. You can maybe guess what we're about to do. We are going to take whatever month it is and then divide it by 12. Okay, we're dividing our month by 12. Why are we doing this? Because that's going to give us a fraction. And so all the way up to 12, we're going to get a number less than 1, which means it's still within that year. And so if it's less than 1, it's going to round up. That's what this function is doing. Or I guess that I should point that way because that's where my camera is. The function is going to round up. And then once we get into like month 13, it's going to be like 13 divided by 12 will give you like 1 point something. And that will round up to show year 2. That is the beauty of this. So that's why we're using round up. That's why we're dividing by 12. And we are going to put a 0 here because that's how we get a whole number. And so now if we copy this, hold shift and go all the way to the right, we'll just do this here just to show. Control right, boom. Look at that. All of these first 12 months show that we're still in year 1. And as soon as we get to month 13, we are in the second year. Pretty freaking cool. Okay, we're going to copy that. We're going to hold shift and we're going to go, we're going to do a couple things. We're going to hold shift, we're going to hold control, and we're going to hit the right key to go all the way to the other side. And that is why this is so darn cool, is because you can just jump to the other side. So let's do this now. We're going to hit Control R. Boom. So 120 months, this is the end of our 10th year. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 months afterward for our 11th year that we would calculate for our NOI that we're going to be using later. So this is excellent. Okay, now we're going to try to fill in these rows here. And what we want to do is we want, this is our purchase date basically, and we want to show each month what the date would be going forward, because even though this is like month 2, we don't really know what that date is going to be. So let's do this. We're going to click equals. This is our second function we're going to learn. It's called EO month. And EO month is basically going to take the start date and then it's going to add it by a certain number of months that you tell it. In this case, we're telling it to start at this date and we're going to add 1 month each time. We got a number. What the heck is that? You're probably panicking, shaking in your boots. I'm here to tell you to not worry. Don't worry about that because we are going to learn another shortcut. Alt to bring up all these numbers here. We're going to click H and then we're going to use this one up here. We're going to hit that N so we can access this. So now we are going to press S for short date. Short date is going to turn it into something we're more comfortable looking at. So now we can see this is the 4th month of 2021 on the 30th day. January, February, March. It's April. Okay, let's copy. And we are going to hold shift, control, and then go all the way with the right key to highlight all of that. And then we're going to hit control right. And that will fill the entire ribbon or our entire row of cells with the correct dates. Isn't that great? Okay, so we have all of our values in place that we wanted to. if you feel like having some fun, you can jump around using that control and then holding those keys to like go back and forth really quickly. So now we're going to make this look a little more appealing for us to look at. So the first thing I want to do is I actually want to bold this, and I'm going to make a outside border. So I'm going to hold Shift, Control, and I'm going to highlight this entire section. I'm going to give it a border. So I'm going to click Alt. I don't have to hold this, by the way. I just have to hold Alt and then H. And then I want to get to this borders over here. I want to border. So I'm going to press B. And then I'm going to get all borders. So I'm going to click A. Actually, I changed my mind. I don't want old borders. I'm going to undo that by holding Control Z. Oops. Control Z. And I'm going to go back. Alt H B. And then we're going to do the outside border. So that's S. So here it looks a little better. We're going to do that same thing again. Shift, Control, and then highlight all of that using the keys. And then I'm going to fill this. So I'm actually just going to use my mouse here. I want to fill this with the dark theme color. And then I want to add a white. So it looks like everything here. Okay, so that looks a little better. We're going to do the same thing with these guys. We are going to give it a border. So Alt H B and then A. Did it again. I don't actually want that. Alt H B S. Outside borders. So looks good. We're going to also highlight this again, give it that white, and then we're going to italicize it so we can show that it is important. And then I actually want to bring this to the other side. So I probably just click that. There's probably some sort of shortcut here. H, and then yeah, it's probably like AR. So if I press AC, it centers it. If I do Alt H AR, then it brings it to the side there. So that's what I'm happy with. Next thing we're going to do, we are going to mess with all these values here. So these are all date related. We're building the timeline here. And so now that we're dealing with the timeline, I do want to differentiate that from the other things that we're going to build later. So I'm going to highlight this with a nice light blue. I am going to give it a outside border. So Alt H B and then S for a nice outside border. I want this to be centered, all these values to be in the middle of the cell. So I'm going to click Alt H and then A C. I'm looking over here, you can see. So AC. And then you can click underline. So Control U to underline all of these. And yeah, that looks a lot better than it did before. This is going to be at the top of our page here. We can get rid of this 0 here because it doesn't really service a purpose. Yeah, it's perfect. So we just built out like the first part of making a pro forma model. It's just making our dates. This will be important later on, but it's important we get this right. So yeah, thanks for watching.